We did, though, get a short statement from Tracy Reiner, who is Rob Reiner's eldest daughter, an adopted daughter he had with Penny Marshall. He was married to her prior to his marriage to Michelle Reiner. And Tracy, on the phone to our entertainment correspondent, Chloe Malas, said, "I came from the greatest family ever. I don't know what to say. I'm in shock." And I think that's going to be the sentiment around the world tonight, Jessica.
People love to believe that once the lights shut off and the cameras disappear, Hollywood fades into peace and quiet. But that's a lie. This industry is small, tight, and full of whispers that never really die. Secrets don't stay hidden. They just move locations, from private dinners to gated neighborhoods, from luxury lounges to phone calls that were never meant to be public. And what's unfolding right now around the Reiner family isn't casual talk or harmless rumor. It's something way heavier than that. Because this moment isn't just about shock or surprise, it's about a legacy being reshaped in real time. For years, the story felt clean and simple, almost too neat. Headlines framed Rob Reiner's sudden ending as tragic but straightforward. Case closed, right? Not even close. If you've been listening closely to what's been murmured behind the scenes, especially by people deep in that inner Hollywood circle, you start to realize the official story barely touches what was really happening inside that house during the final 5 years. And this is where Tracy Reiner steps into the spotlight. You might not instantly recognize her name, but you definitely know her face. She's Penny Marshall's daughter, adopted by Rob during his marriage to Penny, and that puts her in a rare position. She's family, but also slightly removed, close enough to see everything clearly, yet distant enough to notice patterns others ignored. That distance matters. Tracy wasn't trapped behind the same emotional blinders that can freeze people when things get uncomfortable. And that's exactly why her recent revelation hit so hard. She finally spoke about the last conversation she had with Rob, just days before everything went silent. And no, it wasn't some emotional goodbye or heartfelt farewell. It was something way colder. It felt more like a release.
You got a chance to speak to Rob Reiner, and he told you the story about how Mel would continue coming to the house after Carl died. Watching that now is, of course, so poignant. Have you been able to watch that back, the interviews with Rob?
I haven't rewatched the film since then, but you know, it changes the movie because it is also about the love between the Brooks family and the Reiner family. You know, they were so intertwined for so long, and they're all such special people who gave so much to the world. So it's definitely bittersweet to see certain sections of this documentary. But you know, Rob is so funny and warm and tells the stories of Mel and Carl and their love in a really beautiful way.
It is. The man, it's the man. Yeah. They're all those lovely stories. While we're talking about him, can you talk about what kind of hole is left without Rob and Michelle here?
You know, it's a gigantic hole because, you know,
a confession. And that phone call needs to be talked about. The call itself wasn't long. According to people close to Tracy, it came late on a Tuesday night. Rob sounded off. And remember, this is the same man who gave us The Princess Bride and Stand By Me. This is a guy known for optimism, quick wit, and that nonstop New York spark. His voice usually carried confidence and fire. But Tracy said that night, he sounded empty. He didn't want to discuss scripts. He didn't want to argue politics, which was normally his thing. He reached out because he was scared. And this is the part that really sticks with you. He wasn't worried about medical issues or health scares. He was afraid of the chaos inside his own home. Tracy shared that Rob admitted he no longer felt in control of his own story. And he used a line she says still echoes in her head to this day. He told her, "I've been writing happy endings for strangers my whole life, but I don't know how to write one for my son." And that's where this turns painful. This isn't just about a shocking incident. It's about a father realizing too late that love without limits can be twisted and used against you. That realization changes everything. And once you factor in the Tom Cruise connection, this stops being a private family issue and starts looking like a full Hollywood wake-up call. Tom Cruise and Rob Reiner weren't just co-workers. They were locked in for decades. When they made A Few Good Men, it wasn't just a hit that pulled in massive money. That project welded them together through pressure, precision, and high standards. Tom has always lived by control over his body, his work, his image, his environment, and he respects discipline more than anything else. And that's exactly why people close to this situation say Tom noticed the cracks way earlier than most. Not rumors, not gossip, but real warning signs inside Rob's family world. And he didn't try to step in publicly or stir drama. That's not his style. He handled it privately, directly, and intensely, the way Tom always does when something feels off. Now here's where it gets heavy. Word going around industry circles says Tom Cruise is crushed by how this all played out, but he's also angry. Not at Rob, but at the situation that was allowed to grow unchecked. Recently, Tom allegedly spoke behind closed doors with major Hollywood power players, and this time, he dropped the polished PR mask. No media-friendly language, no soft edges. He reportedly spoke bluntly about the culture of quiet enabling in Brentwood. Tom knew Nick. He watched him grow up. He saw the warning signs stacking up over the years. And let's be real, Nick Reiner's struggles were never exactly hidden. They even turned that pain into a film years ago, Being Charlie. Rob believed that turning hardship into art might help heal things, a way to process it, maybe even fix it. But Tom apparently told people close to him that Rob's kindness was working against him, that his heart was too big for the harsh reality of what addiction actually does to someone. And that take might sound cold, but it cuts deep. From Tom's point of view, Rob was trying to guide his son the same way he guided actors, thinking patience and direction could calm the chaos. But life doesn't follow a script. You can't coach disorder out of someone who's already spinning.
Good morning, Michael. And since Nick Reiner was charged with his parents' murders, there have been many questions about his mental health. Well, there is now news that he was placed in a temporary conservatorship just a few years ago, and that could be key if he potentially goes to trial.
This morning, new details shedding light on the mental health challenges accused killer Nick Reiner faced in the years leading up to the deaths of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. The New York Times reports in 2020, Reiner was placed in a year-long mental health conservatorship, meaning a judge determined he had a grave disability, unable to provide for his basic personal needs because of a mental health disorder, allowing him to be involuntarily held for psychiatric treatment. Legal experts say that conservatorship was not renewed in 2021. It could, however, be central to Reiner's defense if he pleads not guilty by reason of insanity.
In order to win and not be determined guilty of murder, he has to show that he suffers from a severe mental illness, and at the time of the act, he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know wrong from right.
And when Tracy Reiner finally spoke about that final phone call, she confirmed exactly what Tom had feared all along. Rob admitted to Tracy that the energy inside the house had shifted. Hard. What started as concern had turned into fear. He told her something that still rattles people to this day. He said he was locking his bedroom door at night. Let that sit for a second. Rob Reiner, wealthy, respected, living in one of the safest neighborhoods in the country, felt unsafe in his own home. He told Tracy he didn't recognize his son anymore. He said it felt like looking into eyes he helped create, but there was no connection left. So why didn't Tracy call authorities? Why didn't she rush over or pull the alarm? That's what everyone keeps asking. But the truth is complicated. Rob begged her not to. He was still protecting Nick right up until the final moment. He made Tracy promise not to make a scene, not to bring attention, not to drag cameras or headlines to the doorstep. Rob believed he could manage it. Like so many parents, he thought more patience, more resources, more support would eventually calm the storm. Tracy kept that promise, and now she's living with the weight of it. Because honoring her father's wish for privacy ended up costing everything. And this is where the story gets uncomfortable, because now the focus shifts fully to Nick Reiner and the reality people didn't want to face. The media is already rushing to label Nick Reiner as a villain, and yes, some of the actions are disturbing. But Rob never saw him that way. He didn't see a threat. He didn't see a headline. He saw a wounded child who needed help. And according to Tracy Reiner, that belief shaped every decision Rob made near the end. Tracy revealed that during those final months, Rob was quietly cleaning up messes that should have set off alarms immediately. Damage inside the house was quietly repaired before staff arrived. Signs of chaos were erased like they never happened. It wasn't denial, it was desperation. Personal items went missing, priceless watches, memorabilia, things that mattered, and Rob would brush it off, telling himself he'd simply misplaced them. He wasn't lying to others, he was lying to himself. Anything to keep the family from falling apart. And this detail hit Tom Cruise especially hard. Tom is someone who believes problems should be faced directly, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. When he heard that Rob was hiding evidence of volatile behavior just to protect Nick's image, it shook him deeply. People close to Tom say he was visibly rattled. He saw it as the purest form of sacrifice, and also the most heartbreaking mistake. Tom allegedly said that Hollywood itself played a role in breaking that family by trapping them in a bubble where accountability never fully landed. He reportedly said that if this situation had happened in a regular household somewhere far from fame, authorities would have been involved years ago. But because this was the Reiner family, because of status, influence, and reputation, people kept looking the other way. Security looked away. Assistants stayed quiet. Even professionals who should have stepped in chose silence. Everyone convinced themselves it wasn't their place. Tracy's revelation also brought attention to Michelle Singer Reiner, Rob's wife. She was the glue holding everything together, and in many ways, she was taking the hardest hits emotionally. Rob admitted during that final call that Michelle was running on empty.
TMZ has learned Nick Reiner was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and in the weeks leading up to the murder of Michelle and Rob Reiner, the meds he was taking made him erratic and dangerous. Two sources with direct knowledge told TMZ that Nick was under the care of a psychiatrist, and were told in the months before the murders, Nick's behavior had gotten alarming. He had recently received care at an LA rehab facility that costs around $70,000 a month, where powerful parents tend to send their troubled children. This rehab facility specializes in mental illness and substance abuse. Sources say 3 to 4 weeks before the murder, doctors had changed his meds, which had led him to become even more erratic. Our sources say doctors were trying to adjust the meds so Nick stabilized, but it wasn't working. One source even told TMZ once his meds were changed, Nick was out of his head. Sources also say Nick's substance abuse was worsening his schizophrenia. We will update you as we continue to learn more.
He told Tracy, "She's fading. I'm watching the light leave my wife's eyes." He said she was trying to save their son, but was sinking with him instead. This wasn't just about physical outbursts. It was mental exhaustion on another level. Constant manipulation, late-night arguments that spiraled into breakdowns, hours of chaos followed by apologies, just for the cycle to reset the very next morning. And here's the part that really messes with people. We all grew up on Rob Reiner's work. We laughed, we believed, we trusted the worlds he created. When Harry Met Sally taught us that talking things through always leads to understanding. Rob sold us stories where intelligence wins, where words fix everything, where the third act always brings clarity and peace. But behind closed doors, real life didn't follow a script, and there was no clean resolution waiting in the final scene. But inside his own home, words stopped working. All that brilliance, all that sharp dialogue, all those perfectly written speeches couldn't touch what was happening. Logic doesn't calm emotional explosions, and intelligence doesn't overpower instability. Tracy said Rob sounded like a man who had finally realized that his greatest gift, communication, was useless against the force tearing through his house. And then she shared a detail that hasn't really surfaced yet, and it's devastating. Rob had started keeping a journal, not a memoir, not something for the public, not a legacy project. It was a log, a daily record of what was happening behind closed doors. Rob told Tracy during that call, "I'm writing it down, so I know I'm not imagining this." He needed proof for himself. A paper trail of the love he gave, the patience he showed, the chances he kept extending. Almost like he was preparing a defense for a judgment he felt coming, whether from a court, the public, or something beyond that. He wanted the truth documented. He wanted the world to know he tried. Tracy believes those journals are now part of official evidence, and if they ever become public, they will shake this industry to its core. And yes, Tom Cruise reportedly knew about those journals. The word is that Rob confided in him months earlier during a brief private moment. Tom allegedly urged him to take action, to use that documentation to push for legal protection, to do something drastic before it was too late. But Rob couldn't bring himself to do it. He couldn't become the villain in his son's story. He wanted to be the rescuer, the father who somehow made everything right in the end. He chose hope over harsh reality, and that choice is what makes the aftermath so complicated. Because what comes next isn't clean. There's likely going to be a legal storm that exposes uncomfortable truths about celebrity parenting and unchecked privilege.
Why is he here? Every inmate has to be medically cleared before they can be transported to court. He has not been medically cleared. It's just procedural.
Where's Mr. Reiner now?
MCJ, Vince County Jail.
Just to triple confirm, the murder case has not been filed.
I have not received any filing. And I don't believe the court has received any filing at this point.
You've spoken to your client at all?
I'm not commenting any further than what the procedure of the court today is.
How is your client's spirits today?
Not here. That's the whole point. He's not here yet.
Is he home?
We'll be back day to day. The bailiff has indicated that the sheriff's department will take it on a day-by-day basis, and so hopefully he'll be cleared tomorrow, and he can get in there.
But beyond courtrooms and outcomes, what lingers most is Tracy Reiner's voice. She's the one left holding everything together now. She's the bridge between the Rob Reiner the world adored and the frightened man who called her late that Tuesday night. And she's not speaking out for attention or money. She's had access and visibility her entire life. She's doing this because she refuses to let the story be flattened into a sudden tragedy narrative. This wasn't sudden. It was slow, painful, and stretched across years. She wants people to understand that Rob wasn't blind. He knew exactly what he was dealing with. He walked into that final moment fully aware of the risks. He chose love, even when love became the most dangerous option available. Tracy made one thing clear. Rob didn't pass because he was weak. He held on because he refused to stop believing in his child. That's not cowardice, that's heartbreaking devotion. And when you look back at footage from Rob's final year, you can see it now. The weight loss, the exhaustion in his eyes. At the time, people brushed it off as age catching up. But it wasn't just aging. He was being worn down piece by piece, drained by the pressure of a secret he felt he had to carry alone. Tracy believes the industry failed him. She believes the friends who slowly stopped visiting because things felt uncomfortable failed him too. Silence didn't protect Rob. It isolated him. Tracy Reiner believes the real damage wasn't done in a single moment. It was built over years of silence, a silence that wrapped itself around Hollywood and tightened until there was nowhere left to breathe. She feels that this unspoken code of don't get involved helped turn a fragile situation into a pressure chamber that eventually burst. And in this story, Tom Cruise stands as a symbol of the path that was never fully taken, the road of firm limits, strict boundaries, and uncomfortable decisions. It's easy now, looking back, to say Rob should have listened to the tougher voices around him. But love doesn't move that cleanly, and parenting definitely doesn't. You don't stop caring about your child just because they frighten you. That's the brutal truth Tracy is forcing people to confront. Loving someone doesn't shut off when things turn dark. And that's what makes this story so painful. In the coming weeks, the noise is only going to get louder. Attorneys will shape their arguments. Experts will talk about mental health, altered judgment, chemical factors, all real conversations. But Tracy doesn't want any of that to drown out the human reality of what those final moments felt like. Rob Reiner, someone who shaped American storytelling for 4 decades, reached the end believing he had failed his most important role. Not a film, not a legacy project, but fatherhood. That belief is the real heartbreak here. Tracy doesn't want the world to see Rob only as a victim. She wants people to remember the man. But she also wants the lesson to land hard. She made it very clear. If you see warning signs in your own family, don't wait. Don't be polite. Don't worry about appearances. Don't stay quiet to avoid discomfort. Ask for help, loudly. Because Tracy believes silence did more damage than any single act ever could.
The videos are haunting. For the first time, we are seeing Rob Reiner's son, Nick, the night cops say he killed his parents. Surveillance video shows him walking near his family's mansion just hours before the murders. It comes as Nick Reiner makes his first court appearance wearing an anti-suicide vest.
Nick Reiner made his first court appearance today. He wore no shirt, and instead, he was outfitted with what appeared to be an anti-suicide vest, which stretched down to his knees. His hair was disheveled, and he appeared somber as he answered yes to waiving his right to a speedy trial.
A camera in court was not allowed to show Reiner. His attorney spoke afterwards.
This is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that. Our hearts go out to the entire Reiner family. There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case.
It wasn't one moment that ended Rob Reiner's story. It was years of quiet that let fear grow unchecked. So when tributes start pouring in, when clips from All in the Family or This Is Spinal Tap flood timelines, Tracy wants people to remember the other side too. Remember the phone call late on that Tuesday night. Remember the locked bedroom door. Remember the father documenting his own unraveling in a notebook, hoping, just maybe, that loving harder could change the ending. But it didn't. And that's a truth no amount of Hollywood magic can rewrite. This isn't just another headline. It's a warning, a reflection held up to every family that believes this could never happen to us. It happened to Rob Reiner. And if it could happen to someone with his resources, his intelligence, and his heart, then it can happen anywhere. The investigation isn't over. There are more recordings, more calls, more details that Tracy is still sorting through piece by piece. And as those details emerge, one thing is already clear. This story isn't finished. It's only just being fully seen. For now, the message couldn't be clearer. The Rob Reiner we lost wasn't just a legendary creator or a cultural icon. He was a father standing inside a house already on fire, refusing to walk away because his child was still inside. He chose love over escape, even when love came with real fear attached. Tom Cruise has every right to feel frustrated. Tracy Reiner has every right to feel shattered, and the public has every right to feel stunned. But we also need to be honest with ourselves. The warning signs were there the whole time. We just convinced ourselves they were part of the performance. We mistook reality for storytelling. We treated real pain like entertainment, and by the time the truth became impossible to ignore, the damage was already done. This wasn't a movie, and there was no rewrite waiting at the end. The silence that surrounded this situation didn't protect anyone. It only allowed things to stretch, bend, and finally break. Now that Tracy has spoken, that silence is gone. And the echo of that final phone call is going to hang over Hollywood for a very long time. Because once someone speaks up, you can't unhear it. You can't unknow it. And now people are asking questions they should have asked years ago. What else is written in those journals? What moments were documented that never reached the surface? And whose names are sitting quietly on those pages? People who saw things, people who felt something was off, people who chose comfort over confrontation. This story isn't closing, it's opening wider. Now that Tracy has pulled at one loose thread, the whole picture is starting to unravel. And history tells us when that happens, more truths always follow. Hollywood is built on image, but pressure cracks even the strongest masks. This isn't just about one family or one household. It's about a system that teaches people to look away when things get uncomfortable, a culture where silence feels easier than stepping in. And that's why this story matters, because it's not just sad, it's instructive. It forces us to look at our own lives, our own families, our own warning signs. If something feels wrong, don't ignore it. Don't explain it away. Don't wait for the moment to pass. Moments don't pass, they pile up. This isn't just news, it's a cautionary tale, a reminder that love without boundaries can turn dangerous, and silence can do more damage than speaking out ever could. What happened here isn't fiction, even if it feels unreal. It's a real-world tragedy playing out in real time, and the aftermath is only beginning. So, if you found this breakdown insightful, intense, or eye-opening, make sure you like the video, share it, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. More stories like this are unfolding every single day, and don't go anywhere yet. Check out the next video popping up on your screen right now for even more deep dives into celebrity drama, hidden truths, and stories that don't always make the headlines. This story isn't over, and neither are we. See you on the next one.